All right, here, I'm going to do this because this may be my last one because my lawyer just called me, so looks like the shit's coming to an end for me. Here's this picture here. Remember I told you here's the left, this is the negative. Here's the right, that's the positive. Here's the center. It connects the two. It balances out the electrical charge. This works all the way from freaking atoms all the way up to probably the freaking cosmos and beyond. It also works in your body, okay? But we're all part of a bigger battery for something else. And so there's that negative people and there's positive people, right? And then there's people that are kind of in the middle. Okay, so this is, let me just watch. Here's the negative. That's where we're at right now. We're on the negative side. We're cut off from the positive side because this is broken. And I'll show you in a battery where this is. When we look at this picture, this is a cell. This is like a little atom or whatever, the energy cell. See this here? All of this right here? I told you, this is a lead-acid battery. This is heat. Heat is not good for batteries because it causes resistance and it causes the battery to burn up. That happens when something shorts out. Kind of like this. Perfect example. You ever plug too many things into the wall? Or you ever blown a fuse? It's because there was too much power being drawn at one time, and to keep the wires from really catching on fire and burning your house down, your fuse box trips. And what happens is it shuts all the power off, and so the wire doesn't melt and you don't burn the house down. Yeah, hence the phrase "stop tripping." See? They throw the shit into the public all the time. So when we look, we know that the circuit's busted because this is supposed to be 6 points and it's only 5. So the connecting point between positive and negative in the middle is broke. Okay? This is the battery. I know that from working around with electronics and messing around. Okay? This is a lead-acid battery, just like you got in your car. If you look, if you can see it, if it's big enough, this one here is the positive. Here's the one pillar. This one here is your negative. This one here is your positive. This one here is your negative. You see this line here, how it connects the two? Right. What you're going to see here is it's right here. Because this thing here, this is a higher than a 12 volt. And the way they work that out is this is a positive and negative, but then the negative connects to the positive, and here it just keeps flipping. See, then the negative connects to the positive, and then here it's the negative to the positive, and it just keeps working its way down until you get to these posts. So these two posts that you see right here are really these two posts, right? And you see all the little individual cubes in here? Well, I got this feeling that each one of us is one of these things, and our Earth is one of these things, and our galaxy is one of these things, and it just keeps moving up. And it goes down into the smallest that you can think, because it's working over and over. You see all of these plates? You see how they're black and white? Okay, let's look at this. Here's your negative active material. Here's your bipolar membrane. Funny how everybody's bipolar these days, right? Here's your electrolyte. Here's your positive. So this is a positive pillar. This is a negative, and here's the middle one. You notice each one of these has 3 pillars, which in itself. So what do you got? You got 3, 6, you got 9. Over here, you got L, and a Y, and an X. Okay? It's a battery. Okay? And mankind is a living, walking battery, and in my opinion, when they need energy, they create situations that up the load. Like when you go to start your car, all those positives and neutrons, negatives, and your negative and your positive, all of those converge to send out that energy that go up the line that start your car. When you let off on the key, they all go back to the way that they were. When you do that enough times, you burn out the battery. Okay, and that's what happens. You know, and I mean, the more pure imagine yourself as an atom. If you don't have a bunch of shit flying around you that's draining off of you, then the more pure source you are. And then now we start getting into the kids disappearing and all of that stuff. But, you know, I'm just telling you, on an electrical, the way that I see it, on an electrical basis, without all the hocus pocus occultism, okay, is that this is creation. Here's your two pillars. The two pillars are connected because we're connected to another battery right here. We don't have that. We're broke right here. The negative pole and the negative, or the north, and the south pole, which is these guys here. You see how they connect the two? That piece in this picture is missing. So this particular battery where we're at is just dead. There's nothing to it. We are cut off from the rest of creation. And I'm just giving you a very, very basic idea about, if you just look at it on an electrical schematic, what's going on. Here's your two pillars that you always see. Okay, then you got two pillars here. This is positive, this is negative, right? This is negative, this one's positive, and this one's negative, right? That one's positive, this one's negative. And they keep staggering like that. So there's your zigzag. Because your zigzag is showing you, but ours is busted. Sound is a frequency. You know, I mean, it is all wrapped up in this picture right here. So, you know, basically, in my opinion, that's the reality. It doesn't mean that Jesus doesn't exist, because if our reality is that, if that's, remember when I said a long time ago, people say, well, what's the meaning of life? Well, if you knew what life was, then you'd already know the meaning. If you know that life is, it's an electrical charge and every bit of it and everything that you do, then you would know that your job is to be a battery. And you can be a good battery or you can be a bad one. And if you're a bad one, then you just get deposited in a place that's just dead. And if you're a good one, you move on to, you move farther in because you're positive. It all works out the same. Being positive and negative in your body is what all of this New Age stuff has been about, going all the way back to the beginning. Balancing out yourself, balancing out the universe, because it's all electrical, do you see? What I just showed you in the pillars is exactly what goes on in a battery. And that's exactly what goes on in your body, and that's exactly what goes on at a microscopic level, at an atomic level, a subatomic level, going up through the cosmos. It's all the same. It does not mean that if you think that's the end-all, be-all of things, that you have a right to be a bad person, that you have a right to do evil things. Do you understand? Because there's a spiritual aspect to this battery, and that spiritual aspect's a whole bunch of other things in that battery. And that's why that battery is sitting in the UN prayer room, because it represents what we are, I believe, and where we're tied off to the left-hand pillar. We're broke. Like I said, we're broke. This piece right here that's supposed to connect the positive and the negative, it's missing. It's broke. So we're stuck here. Just with these two pillars, we're cut off from the whole rest of this. We're just sitting here like this, looking like this, because we're shorted out. And when you short out, you create fire, you create heat. That's the best explanation I can give you on a very, very simple level. And we all know that it's far more complex than that. When you look outside and you see a lawn full of flowers or dandelions, or you see people walking down the street, this isn't some kind of thing that you can just explain in a million videos. But at least it gives you a basic idea of, from the smallest to the biggest, it's kind of working around the same thing. Even your movie The Matrix, what was everybody in there? They were looking at a holographic idea in their mind, and they created power for the machine by their thoughts, and that's what the whole thing was. The game was for the machine not to be exposed, by keeping people in a state where they never really were alive, except for the fact that in their mind they were alive. So I'm not saying that's what's going on here. I'm just telling you there's a lot of weird stuff going on, and I've been saying for a long time that the stories that we're seeing in the news are actually built around voltages that are being needed to be applied to get something else to work. So if it's 3, 3, and 3, they just make a story because that energy that they're showing you in stories, like, you know, a 33-year-old man, so that's this, you know, killed a 4-year-old child, that's this. They're trying to show you where the energy flow is running through this battery, because this is a battery. This is really 6 sides. You got 1, 2, 3, 4. You have right here 5 and 6. Okay? If you look here, you'll see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's really this. And it's really this, and it's really this. Okay? Except it's busted here, which is really the part that's broken right here. And that's what's cutting us off from the smallest, where we're at. From you going down is broke. Okay? And from Earth going up, well, we're connected, but going up, we're broke. So we're really disconnected from the whole thing. So try and make the best out of it. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, I think this is probably my last video.